Installment into the hidden history of the African American fighting man. You know, folks, much is said of the U.S. colored troops within the Civil War. There were close to 200,000 who served in uniform, hundreds of thousands who served out of uniform. Many of them were considered at first refugees. Many of those individuals were spies, and some were even militia coming off the plantation and grabbing their .50 calibers from their master and doing about their business to fight for freedom. However, those in uniforms had incredible banners, flags, as they would be. You don't see any of those really around Mississippi, the flags of those who won, which is rather odd, don't you think? Those brave 17,000 or so Mississippians who fought for this state and for this state to stay in the Union and fought for freedom, you don't see their banners anywhere, and you really should. But they not only had flags, ladies and gentlemen, they had mottos, and I want to share some of those with you, because it's really interesting. You realize that these guys were formed out of the Mississippi Native Guard, or Corps d'Afrique, that were stationed right out there at Ship Island, about 12 miles out from Gulfport. Many of them came from there. Many regiments were made in Mississippi from those brave men from New Orleans and southern Mississippi and the like. Well, here's some of the mottos that they had. Actually, you know, there was the 5th U.S. Colored Heavy Artillery. It was stationed in Natchez. It was presented with its colors, artillery colored citizens of Natchez, Mississippi, to the 5th Regiment. Then you had the 10th U.S. Colored Heavy Artillery. Their motto was, "We fight for our rights, liberty, justice, and union." So it kind of says what they fought for.
Lays it out.
The 11th U.S. Colored Heavy Artillery fought for freedom to all, death to copperheads and traitors. Copperheads were Confederates, ladies and gentlemen, who were, they were distinguished in some cases by the beret that they wore. Copperheads, kind of a copper-colored beret. And then there was the 6th U.S. Colored Infantry. It was a non-regulation regiment. Their motto was, let's see, there it is, freedom for all. They were presented with their colors by the colored ladies of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, it was a concerted effort. This whole soldiering thing during the Civil War for African Americans was pretty popular among the women folk. The 12th U.S. Colored Infantry motto was liberty or death. Sounds familiar? You know, for me it's liberty or death. I think I heard that a time or two during the Revolutionary War. Now, the 22nd U.S. Colored Infantry, non-regulation regimental, had this, Sic Semper Tyrannis. That's Latin for, may it be ever thus to tyrants. I think you've got a T-shirt with that on it. This shows the...
I do indeed.
Actually, you know, I've got a picture of that somewhere here. I'm going to see if I can find that very quickly here. It's a flag of an African-American soldier with a bayonet piercing the chest of a Confederate officer. It made its way around. That's become the most popular. I don't know if the 22nd U.S. Colored Infantry actually did anything in this part of the world. May ought to check with Ike Edwards about that. Sic Semper Tyrannis. Any American could wear that.
Yep.
I mean, may it be ever thus to tyrants. George Washington could have worn it. One thing's for sure, no one in the Confederacy wore it because they were tyrants. And then the 25th U.S. Colored Infantry had this, strike for God and liberty. The 25th had God and liberty. The 45th U.S. Colored Infantry's motto was one cause, one country. And the esteemed 55th U.S. Colored Infantry had as their motto, Guntown.
I like that one. That's a good one.
So cool, brothers, man.
Ready.
Yeah, ready. Ready, Freddy. You know, when you start looking at those brave warriors, soldiers, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand just how significant they were on the battlefield. If you don't understand that, you look at the NFL and the arena where those warriors. You understand during the Civil War, ladies and gentlemen, there was the days of muskets and single-fire weapons, and so in many cases it came down to hand-to-hand combat, who could run the fastest and who was most agile. Simply put, who could fight. And all one has to do is look at what has happened in the heavyweight championship rings since African Americans were allowed to compete. Be it there, be it football, be it track and field. That was how you measured warriors at that time. Just saying. All right, folks, let's get to it. A lot to cover, short period of time. So now it has been designated a domestic.
Officially, yes.
Good. So, and who has deemed it that?
That was the designation given by Texas Department of Public Safety official Freeman Martin.
Yeah. So let's hear Freeman.
Everybody wants to know is why did this happen? It's a senseless crime, but we can tell you that there was a domestic situation going on within this family. The suspect's mother-in-law attended this church.
Mm-hmm.
We know that he had made threatening texts from him, and we can't go into details about that domestic situation that is continuing to be vetted and thoroughly investigated. But we want to get that out there that this was not racially motivated. It wasn't over religious beliefs. There was a domestic situation going on within the family and the in-laws.
All right. By the way, appreciate that, Ashley. She said that the Semper Tyrannis is on the VA state flag. Appreciate that, Ashley. Well, okay. Let's deal with this, folks. I don't know why they're trying. They, meaning the powers that be, I guess, are trying to distance themselves from the fact that this Caucasian male committed a terrorist attack. It's so deliberate. Now, bear with me. Just bear with me, okay? I've read the definition, several definitions, actually, even for the state of Texas, as to what constitutes terrorism. I must tell you, I do have some problems with the definition, and, of course, in many cases, there is no clear defined definition, but for the sake of whatever criminal activity, the FBI came up with one. Which is subject to change, I don't doubt. But here is what it basically says. The whole idea here is that there's the procuring cause of why you commit this heinous act, whatever it may be, shooting down the plane, whatever, is to make a point besides just killing someone. It is a commentary. You know, you want to send a message, all right? That's basically the layman's view of what the FBI is saying. It is not like it is a strike at any direct anything. It's a strike at the country, or it's a strike at society. Now, under that definition, ladies and gentlemen, you see a guy dressed out in a Kevlar vest. Now, to me, right then, it tells me this guy is not looking to commit suicide, and he's not looking to be killed. He's looking to get away, bro.
Escape route.
There's no doubt. And regardless of which church he chose this one, and obviously his mother-in-law is there, and that's a good place to start. _start. The problem I have when I hear people like the good doctor here is that they somehow assume that, okay, so that's it. Well, the target was the mother-in-law. Okay, I'll go with that. So why did you kill everybody else? He had ample time to kill the mother-in-law anywhere at any given time. Right there. I mean, just saying. The guy lived just around the corner from the church. I mean, he had ample time. And then why babies as they screamed? Oh, no, it's a domestic dispute. You go to great lengths. And then add to this my question of, okay, so, all right, so if I take you for saying there's a domestic dispute, so where was he going with the rest of his 4, 5, 6, 7 other guns and thousands of ammunition? I don't know. You tell me.
After unloading hundreds of rounds.
Over 450. So, but no, he's not a terrorist. He's crazy. I mean, he got out of a mental institution back in 2012, and we've always had problems with this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, anyone would even strap on a vest, in my view, or someone who would get on a plane with a knife and fly it into a building, in my view. It's got to be very, very, quote unquote, crazy.
Does that exclude you from possibly being a terrorist?
Well, that's my point. I'm an equal opportunity definer here, and it's just more than obvious to me what's happening. It happened with Gabby Giffords. It happened with the theater terrorists. It's always this rush to go in and say, yeah, surely, no, the Caucasian male can't be. He's got to be crazy. And what bothers me most is that there is this effort to do that as opposed to the terrorist attack and move on. You've got to ask yourself, well, what is the problem?
We can't have that. We can't have that. No ties to ISIS. Or no radicalization.
Well, folks, it's just, I mean, do I see it as racial? Yeah, it is. It's blatant to me. And I think, and my only reason for bringing it up is that it makes us weak. It makes law enforcement weak. It makes law enforcement extraordinarily weak. The MO is what the MO is, right? The modus operandi. In other words, these are the things that typically these people do. I guarantee you will see similarities between Kaczynski, Eric Rudolph, who Kaczynski was a Unabomber, Eric Rudolph, Timothy McVeigh, and the Las Vegas terrorist. You'll see the similarities. And they're very, very blatant, too, by the way. So I'm just at a point now where I'm going, huh, really? Now let me just tell you, I'm going to give you a reason as to why I think law enforcement need to stop doing this. Why they need to call this exactly what it is and say, okay, regardless, black, white, brown, indifferent, Christian, Muslim, doesn't make a difference. A terrorist attack is a terrorist attack. It is. Because once you do that, in my view, the glamorization is gone. The whole idea of these individuals is to somehow or another outdo the other individual and simultaneously declare war on society. This guy declared war on society. That's what it takes to kill a baby that has nothing to do with your family or anything else. I mean, it's killing a baby, period. This guy, bad hombre. But the reason why we need to classify it this way is because of what I heard from Christopher Combs in a very ominous warning. Let's see. Here it is, right? Yeah, here it is. I want to go ahead. Let's go ahead and play him, and then I might come back to the good doctor, Dr. Winslow here.
Gotcha.
A little bit. Yeah.
So a lot on active shooters through the years. You look at the numbers are on the rise. I think everybody, no matter where you are, needs to think about this. If you're in a school, if you're in a college, if you go to the movies, we should all be thinking about what are we going to do if a crisis breaks out right here. There are a lot of programs out there. The FBI supports programs. We teach law enforcement. There's private community programs out there. But I think we all have to think very hard about this and make sure that we're prepared. Just like schools do fire drills, because we used to kill a lot of children in fires back in the early 1900s. I think we all have to take active shooters very seriously and do everything we can to prepare and prevent for that.
Do you know how ridiculous that sounds in our free society? I mean, it sounds ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I understand why he's saying it, but the idea that here we are, the land of the free and the home of the brave, that now we need to start really considering this active shooters. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, I guarantee you, after World War II, a significant amount of weapons landed here in the United States. And many of them brought back from war by returning GIs, like my dad and others. There's no doubt about that. And then that's, of course, starting the registration and so forth. Do you know I went to school and never once thought about an active shooter? You know, I even called a plane and never once thought about an active shooter? You guys will never ever understand and never ever appreciate a society whereby you didn't have to go past some metal detector. That's just pathetic. Is it because we have more guns? No. Let me tell you why it is. I think it is completely tied to the semi-automatic and massive magazines. I do, folks. Was there some shooting? There's no doubt. 1 or 2 shootings at the Throne Lounge. There was a shooting at Lewis's there in North Gulfport. Oh, I can name several of the Saturday night specials. I mean, all you got to do is look at the FBI sheet and you'll see that the amount of gunfire, 70s, 80s, even 60s, was still there. It was still there. Mass shootings, no. Mass shootings and the kind of carnage and death that we have here was very, very rare. I mean, Mark Essex, sitting atop the Howard Johnsons in New Orleans, you just didn't have this. I think a lot of it was because we didn't have access to large magazines and semi-automatic weapons. That's my hypothesis. You want to disagree with that? I'm willing to debate it because I'm looking at the numbers and the increase of mass shootings. The homicides went down significantly, ladies and gentlemen, after Bill Clinton. I'm just going to tell you. We've got the numbers right here. They started to edge up, going back around 2008, 2010. Even then, even in Chicago, they were below the numbers that were around back in 1980s and 90s. But what did he just say here, this Christopher Combs? He said, instead of saying, look, we need to limit the amount of access to anti-personnel devices.
No, prepare yourself for more terrorist attacks.
Instead of doing that, so now we want a society such that we want to have, okay, so now we're going to have, and they already started in schools, active shooter drills.
Yes.
How do you wrap your head around that? Rather than say that anyone with a long rifle in close proximity of a school needs to be, that's grounds in my view, for stop and frisk or disarmed.
Beyond. That's
in other words, we're not talking about hunting deer here. I mean, folks, it's just, I'm a gun owner. It's just, you've got people out here who are trigger happy like you wouldn't believe. And there are those of us who know this, and we need to be the main one leading this charge. I'm sick of it. I really am. Why put your grandchildren at risk? The nominee with Donald John for his, what is his position here with the Pentagon? Health Services or something for the VA? Dr. Dean Winslow said it. He said it very well when he said this when he was being interviewed by Congress.
But I'd also like to, and I may get in trouble with other members of the committee, just say, how insane it is that in the United States of America, a civilian can go out and buy a a semi-automatic assault rifle like an AR-15, which apparently was the weapon that was used. I think that's an issue not as much for this committee, but elsewhere. So, again, obviously,
Dr. Winslow, I don't think that's your area of responsibility or expertise.
Yeah, right. So now I've got one in. Some NRA prop-up, top-talking bobblehead. Well, that's not your area of expertise. Common sense doesn't prevail here. And it should, ladies and gentlemen. I remember a different kind of society. I do. It doesn't mean that it was all happy-go-lucky and no one got hurt. Didn't mean that. It did mean this, however, back in those infamous years, even in the 60s. It meant this. It meant that at the very least, the possibility that the police would be outgunned was slim to none. Most of the police at that time carried riot guns, like a Morrisburg. There you could see it propped up in their cars, in their cruisers. They were riot control weapons, scatter guns, basically. Which I thought was very effective. I don't mind telling you. I don't think some of them still carry them in their trunks, but they're not propped up there under the dashboard. They don't have a rifle mount attached, but they were very effective to say the least. But you didn't have this. What we just heard from the FBI was that it's going to get worse with the number of assault weapons that's out there. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not, in my view, a challenge on the Second Amendment to have common sense control of people who have weapons. Common sense. And control of the kinds of weapons that we as people we can access. Because there's some who just can't. And folks, the human error is going to prevail, and that's, of course, what happened with the Air Force not transferring information. And now you understand there's a whole lot of them. And then that combined with the fact that Donald John now rolled back President Barack Obama's executive order because Congress wouldn't act, to say, well, okay, if in fact you're getting Social Security and you're incapable of taking care of yourself, meaning mentally capable, if you've been deemed by Social Security as being incapable of maintaining yourself and yet you're a danger to yourself and to others, then you can't. They've got to turn that information over to the database.
Seems reasonable.
Well, that's been turned back now by Donald John, whether you know it or not, and he did it, not in front of the cameras. I mean, it's just, there is some common sense here. You can do this reasonably. And I have some examples of when we didn't have this. You do understand that. You do understand that there are examples of when we did not have assault weapons and what was happening on the streets of the United States. We have something to compare with. We just do. Will it stop? Will it end all murders? Oh, absolutely not. But there's no argument when someone says, okay, well, let's see if you... I think the president, you have what the president said. Well, had that guy not had a gun, it could have been more deaths. Oh, that's comforting. Well, guess what? Had the Sunday school terrorists not had a gun, there wouldn't have been those deaths. How about that? Does that make sense to anybody? I don't understand the logic of some of you oxy-conservatives, you guys who fall for the Trumpism. By the way, I didn't come up with that, but I think it's going to resonate given the last night's election.
Oh, yeah. Possibly referendums?
There's no doubt. Oh, by the way, Winslow, the guy I mentioned earlier, the doctor, is the nominee for Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Health Affairs. So, yeah, we're going to go there because we have to. Hang on, you guys, on the phone, because there's some other fish to fry, speaking of the election. I received some correspondence, let's say, from individuals who just felt that it didn't matter who was president. That's what she said to me. She said it doesn't matter who's going to be president. To her. See the hands who feel that way.
A lot of people.
She said it doesn't matter who's the governor. Doesn't matter who's the mayor. Doesn't matter who's the supervisor. She said it didn't matter who's the school board. They are going to do what they're going to do. So why worry about it? Let's see the hands who agree with that. You know people like that?
I know a few people like that.
You, Whitlock? You know people like that? No?
People like that. Okay. She doesn't.
Yeah. Huh. I thought to myself as I listened to the person, try to rationalize why voting and was not important and why these people, the people who are in high office, don't affect them. I thought to myself while we were going through the checkout line, does she even understand that she's going to pay taxes now that were established by individuals who were elected? And those taxes can, in fact, go up. The cost of everything you do can be adversely affected by who's elected, or how little you might pay, or for that matter, how you drive, what you drive, and what road you drive on. How all of that is just affected. I don't know. I found myself, of course, I didn't have enough time. We were in a checkout line. I found myself saying, is there something that I could actually say to her and point at and say, well, you know what? This is why you vote. And I did. I pointed out the people who's on her money. Many of which, not all of which, were elected officials. And the individuals, who caused her to pay what she paid right now. Does it matter to you, I ask? So if presidents don't matter to you, why don't you give me all your dead presidents now? You're just putting in your wallet. She chuckled, I chuckled. walking out to the car, I said, you really feel that voting is that much of a problem and that it doesn't matter to you who's in the White House or the governor's office or the mayor's office? And you don't think that it has an adverse or a good effect on your children? Well, yeah, it might do that, but what can I do about it, Rip?
Vote. Vote.
Well, what you do about it is determine who is going to be there. Yeah, but I mean, once you do that, then what? Then you hold them to what they're supposed to do. There are guidelines. In other words, don't you want to decide who's going to represent your children? Yeah. And somehow she got in the car and I got in mine, and I thought to myself, I didn't make any difference at all. I don't think I had any effect, bro. I don't think I could explain to someone who is very adamant about doing nothing. I mean, you can't, how do you motivate someone into doing something outside of taking away that right and allowing their children to suffer? You know, and I guess that was the great motivation in the 1960s during the so-called civil rights era. It was very prevalent, ladies and gentlemen. The conditions were such that you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that you were being treated like a second-class citizen. And you didn't have to guess at it. Be it you're a doctor, or be it you're a plumber or a cement finisher. You went to the same water fountain if you look like me. So does it really take that for you Americans to grasp the concept? Things did not just change. They were changed. They were changed by people who knew the importance of voting for the president, being the mayor, being the governor, school board member. Unless you participate in making the difference, you don't make any difference. I don't know how else to put that. Now, I don't even know why I have to explain that, I thought to myself. Why would I have to explain to this mother why she needs to go out and vote for who's going to be the school board member? Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. They're going to do what they're going to do. If you let them, I would say. So you do nothing and allow it, I thought? It's just kind of self-defeating, and I don't understand that concept, but maybe some of you can explain it to me. I'll certainly look forward to it. I want to go to the phones real quick. I know I don't have much time. I want to see if I could get Miss Dorothy and Goshen, on this. Good morning, Miss Dorothy. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Miss Dorothy. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me? Listen to me.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, just listen to me on your telephone, not the radio, because you might get confused. What's on your mind?
Okay, Mr. Rip Daniel, I heard the other day people give you stories, and your lady that worked for you just looked it up.
You're talking about the teacher in Georgia who was sitting there, the little small teacher who was sitting there just being overrun by the students in the classroom? Is that the one?
I don't know because
no, it's another one.
They said this young man, all he was doing was laughing at the teacher.
Yeah, tormenting the teacher. In other words, it actually was the whole class, but the larger African-American male and they were basically, threatening her and telling her to sit down and so forth. It went on and on.
No.
This is a white male in Rockville, Georgia.
Okay, I tell you what. I tell you what I'm going to do, Dorothy, Miss Dorothy. I'm gonna go and take a look at the video so that I can chat with you about it.
That's what I want you to do. That is exactly.
Okay, well, you want to hold on, Miss Dorothy, I promise you. Mom says teacher threatened to put a bullet in her son. Oh, in her son's head. You have it over there, Whitlock?
Yeah, we have the video.
Yeah. All right. So I want to take a look at it before we put it on Facebook, if we could. 228-896-9455. Go to our Facebook page, simple question. Does it make a difference to you? If you're cynical, if it doesn't make a difference to you, who's the president? And then who's the governor and who's the mayor? I'd just like to know why. I'm not going to call you out. I'm just trying to get into the mindset of people who don't feel that obligation to be part of the decision-making. Because if you don't have people, then you don't have a democracy. I mean, that's fundamental. Let me go to Philip here. Good morning, Philip. How are you?
I'm well, Rip. How are you today?
Great, great. Hopefully we can have good, meaningful conversation.
I certainly hope so, too. I was rather refreshed, I guess, to hear the officials in Texas that came out and said that this is a domestic situation there and not terrorism because...
Well, they didn't say that now. Whoa. They didn't say that. They stopped short of saying it was not terrorism. They
What it wasn't, though. I mean,
well, did you...
The definition of terrorism is pretty cut and dried, and this does not meet that threshold. And it's important to make those distinctions because that's how you decide how to allocate resources in combating these things.
Yeah. Well, okay, so now with your saying that...
Slap the label of terrorism on anything that terrorizes someone, then you basically are in danger of misallocating those resources.
Okay, let me just test this then. Okay, so you just heard him, and then you also heard from, let's see, Christopher Combs with the FBI Special Agent in Charge, who basically said that we need to get ready for this because we're going to have this sort of thing happening in the future. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Was he talking about a murder-suicide with AR-15, or was he talking about terrorism, or was he talking about domestic disputes?
I believe he was talking about active shooters and the fact that people need to be vigilant all the time, regardless of what it is. Now, in this particular instance...
Hold on, Philip. We'll be back.
It's about that time to get away. Make your reservations, pack your bags, and head on down to the coast, the Almanac Hotel and Bistro. Live music, entertainment, special events, and delicious, mouth-watering Cajun Creole cuisine. The Almanac Hotel and Bistro. Celebrate with special events, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, banquets, family reunions, office parties, high-end, intimate, and affordable. The Almanac Hotel and Bistro. It's the #1 spot for Jackson residents with all-you-can-eat catfish, all-you-can-eat shrimp, and all-you-can-eat chicken for Grandma's Sunday brunch. The Almanac Hotel and Bistro. It's a key stop on the Gulf Coast area. Recognized by CNN. Get a room for the weekend. Book now for low rates. Call 228-865-9901 or log on to thealmanett.com. That's ALMANETT.com.
Hi, everybody. Healthcare.gov is open for business right now. You can shop for a health insurance plan that's right for you and your family. It only takes a few minutes, and the vast majority of people qualify for financial assistance. In fact, 8 in 10 people this year can find plans for $75 a month or less. That's cheaper than a lot of cell phone plans. And thanks to the Affordable Care Act, insurance companies can no longer charge you more just for being a woman or for having a pre-existing condition. That's a good thing. It means they have to compete for your business. And with just a few clicks, you can easily compare health insurance plans to find the one that fits what you need. If you don't have insurance, visit healthcare.gov. You've got until December 15th to sign up. If you've already signed up last year, shop around on healthcare.gov anyway. You can save money. And spread the word to make sure everybody knows that it's time to get covered at healthcare.gov. Because this country works best when we look out for one another.
It's official. The Honda's Ladies Night on Thursday night is Sideways in Biloxi.
That's right, it's official. Ladies, you got a new place to party on Thursday night, and you drink free up till midnight. Oh, it's going down every Thursday at Sideways.
The JT 94.5 Sideways Takeover Ladies Night. Hey, Shaman Taguari, along with DJ T-Swan, gets so lit on Thursday.
And we got to mention, ladies, you get in free all night long. That's right, we start at 10 and you get in free all night.
Yeah, the weekend starts on Thursday, Ladies Night at Sideways with the People Station, JT 94.5.
Great news. Any size ice cold and refreshing soft drinks are still just $1 at McDonald's every day. That's the news. Now the weather. Soft drink lovers at McDonald's report enjoying ice cold deliciousness. Also reported, chance of refreshment, 100%. Get any size soft drink for just $1 only at McDonald's. A la carte only, limited time offer at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ain't that crazy? It's Santa
The iconic Grammy-winning Brian Setzer Orchestra whips up a huge dose of retro holiday cheer. Don't miss their 14th annual Christmas Rocks Tour, presented by SiriusXM at Beau Rivage on December 8th and 9th. Visit BeauRivage.com for tickets.
It's back. $100 an hour.
385.
You got $100. The all-new Jay-Z 94.5 is the station where real people get paid.
208.
You got $100. Real people from your community winning real money. Hey, this is your man Sparky. Yes, it's true. $100 an hour. Be calling number 9 with all 3 numbers in the order I call them on the radio. Listen and get paid on the all-new Jay-Z 94.5. The People Station. The all-new Jay-Z 94.5. We research, we investigate,